Up until 1 month ago, the DC fans were quite disappointed and jealous of Marvel fans because they didn't get the Justice League like Marvel fans got the Avengers. But a month ago, Zack Snyder, the director, became the ray of hope for these fans and brought them the Justice League that they deserved. This is RJ Prayesh.
And this is RJ Dharmin from Radio Club, and we bring you the review for Justice League Zack Snyder's Cut. This is the third episode in this series, The Review Shows, and this review is our first collaboration with Film Club DICT, and me being excited about the movie.
Wait, before getting started with the review, if you are also looking for a roadmap of movies to watch before Justice League in order to get the references, you need to watch Man of Steel 2013, Wonder Woman 2017 and Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice Director's Cut 2016. And if this seems a lot, watch Batman vs Superman and get things going. So let's get started. Part 1. Don't Count on It. Fandom. In 2017, what we received was a production issue written, panic-stitched, half Zack Snyder, half Joss Whedon's 2-hour-long cut of the live-action version of the Justice League, deemed to be a boring, dull, out-of-tone, cash-hungry studio's attempt of making a movie more Marvelish and falling miserably in trying to do so. The fans were not ready to accept what they got. And so they went to Twitter, where everyone goes to start a revolution these days, and gave birth to hashtag Release the Snyder Cut. A huge chunk of the film, which was rumored to have been sitting somewhere in the Warner Bros. Studio, shot exclusively according to the vision of Zack Snyder.
Although before watching the movie, we could just request the viewers not to keep a biased mindset towards either Marvel or DC. Just enjoy the movie. At that point, the chances of this die-hard DC Snyder fanboy's dream to come true were next to impossible. Never before in the history has such an event happened, where a bunch of film geeks went to the internet and bullied a multi-billion-dollar making studio into releasing a whole new cut of the same movie just to let their favorite director see his vision through for the characters and the plot points that he had created. But here we are, watching a movie made possible just by a million hashtags a day on Twitter and the denials of the fans to accept the fact that their favorite franchise's ensemble movie can suck.
Part 2. A movie twice over. So how different is this movie as compared to the one that was previously released? According to the YouTube channel Screen Junkies, in one of its Honest Trailers videos, they said, and we quote, Zack Snyder transformed it from a movie that was 2 hours long and terrible to a movie that is 4 hours long and mediocre. On the other hand, a huge DC fan from DICT itself says that watching Justice League Snyder Cut is like waiting for a 7 cheesy pizza when you are dying of hunger. You will think it took a decade to arrive, but the first bite is just ambrosia.
Well, pretty far off perspectives, huh? Now, first of all, let me address that both the movies essentially follow the same script and are not way too different from a plot-wise perspective. They are both just differently edited version of the same movie, and the latter has some additional scenes, so to speak, and cut out Whedon's scene from the original cut. Now, you would be wondering where these extra 2 hours came from. Well, it's just how Snyder edits his movies. However, in the Snyder's Cut, you get to see all his standard movie making tropes, a big chunk of cool slow-mos, long cut scenes, epic background music, praiseworthy cinematography, larger-than-life muscular characters, references to mythology, backstories, and so on. Talking about these slow-mos, according to IGN, 25 minutes of this 4-hour long runtime of the movies is attributed to the slow-motion action scenes, which is almost just 10% of the film.
Part 3. The Good. First things first, we just want to say that the one thing that stood out in this movie were the character arcs. The 2017 film almost had non-existent connection with our superheroes, whereas Snyder gives ample time for the character development. The best example of this would be the whole Cyborg storyline, which was quite sidelined in the 2017 version. He didn't have much screen time for us to relate to his woes and didn't get justice, which is ironic. Whereas in the Snyder version, he almost seems as if he's the main character of the story and also carries the emotional backbone of the story.
Yeah, right? We see him develop over the course of the entire movie, losing his body, brought back to life as half human, half alien tech robot with powers beyond his understanding, going through 7 different stages of grief, and in the end, accepting who he was and saving the world. Also, each character gets a moment to shine. Like Batman gets a super cool action sequence against the parademons towards the climax scene and his Batflex dialogues. Wonder Woman saving the school children at the beginning of the movie, inspiring a girl and making her believe in people, getting mocked and insulted by Steppenwolf in the middle of the movie, and of course defeating him in the end. Flash also gets some flashy scenes, especially where he travels faster than the speed of light, saving his supposed future girlfriend from a car accident and gets life advice, showcasing his journey of turning into a man from a quirky broke teenager.
Absolutely, and he gets the most important scenes in the film where we see him doing some real cool stuff like some Tenet stuff. Although this time you would surely get it in the first go. Got confused? We are talking about some time travel and time reversal stuff. Although it was a major ability in comics and series but got quite missed in Joss Whedon's cut. Talking about Superman, we understand how humanity is unprotected without him. The world is in danger and the stakes are high. We see how important it is for the team to bring him back in order to win this fight.
But at the same time, unlike in the previous movie, it is not shown as if he alone can save the world and doesn't need help from any other member. He is shown to be the part of the team. Of course, he is stronger than them, but it does need them to win this battle, and each member plays a necessary part in saving the world.
Due to the extended running time, we also get to see each character's individual story, their humanity and their emotions. We understand them, we root for them, and we connect with them. Even Steppenwolf has an arc and we get to understand his motives.
He just wanted to prove himself to the ultimate Darkseid. Well, talking about Darkseid, to all the Marvel fans out there, if you think Thanos was scary, wait till you witness the Darkseid, literally. Anyway, let's talk about the technical details.
Yes, the remarkable thing about the movie are the cinematography and music. They are simply incredible and also has those dark tones that DC is known for. A lot of scenes will just leave you in awe of their beauty, like the scene where Superman wears a black suit and goes extraterrestrial. You will literally cheer when that scene will come to the screen. Or the one where Aquaman just walks and stands in front of the sea. Or those introductory scenes of Batman and Wonder Woman. So you get our point, right?
Although we think that the use of slow motion was dope, everyone might not agree with the same opinion. The action was pretty well executed too, especially the Darkseid versus the Old Gods and the climactic battle. CGI was decent and the large set pieces were epic. All in all, a treat for the eyes and makes you wish to be able to watch it in the theaters. And also quite a few Easter eggs for the comic fans to break down and notice the hidden details.
Part 4: The Bad and the Ugly. After watching the movie, the first thought that we had in our mind was, damn, that was cool. But even after 4 hours of runtime, why the heck would you leave the audiences with more questions than answers? Like Batman vs Superman, this is a complete movie too. But at the same time, a lot of it feels like a setup for an upcoming movie that was a part of Snyder's so-called Far Sight vision.
I mean, if we are not gonna make another movie, why bother with the whole Darkseid plot? Why the Martian Manhunter? Why the whole Dark Superman nightmare sequence? And even if you forget those for a minute, there are some scenes that do not affect the story at all and are still part of the film and which could have been cut. Especially, he can cut down on the exposition part.
Moreover, there are still some plot holes that we just cannot wrap our heads around. Like, if the anti-life equation is on Earth, why doesn't Darkseid himself come and retrieve it? More importantly, since he has done this before, how did he forget that it was on Earth this whole time? Also, the mother boxes. Why would Team Humans bury it 3 feet deep in a forest knowing it is one of the 3 most dangerous entities on Earth that can wipe out the whole civilization? If Martian Manhunter was around all this time, why didn't he come and help the squad? And hey, we get it. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. She is an epic, historic character, but no need to bring up the choir every time she comes up on the screen.
Also, what's up with the aspect ratio? What was wrong with keeping it 21:9 or even 16:9, which would look good on 99% of the screens that are going to be used for watching the movie? And also, are we forgetting something? Oh yeah, of course, the dialogues. That's just because they are way too cliched and forgettable and too straightforward.
Part 5, the conclusion. All in all, we think that the movie served its purpose and is definitely worth a watch. It's not a perfect movie, but that's not what the fans asked for. They asked for the Snyder Cut and he definitely delivered. You could see his impact in literally each and every scene. Let's just say the movie restores the faith of people on DC's extended universe.
I mean, yeah, the movie has its fair share of plot holes, story issues, a feeling of incompleteness even after an overly long running time. But again, hey, you would be lying if you said that the movie wasn't cool and it didn't awaken the inner child in you and made you believe in superheroes. Like, that's just how superhero movies are. They don't need a very well made script, just enough to explain and provide a heart to support the badass action scenes. And Zack Snyder's cut manages to do just that.
Other than that, this movie is important in more aspects than just the movie itself. It signifies the victory of fandom and the audiences as a whole. People are raising their voices and letting the studios know what they want and that they won't get away with making bad adaptations and getting rich from them anymore. So with this, let's end the review of the final DC movie from the hands of Zack Snyder.
Whoa, hold on, wait, buddy. There is still something more to it. Hashtag Restore the Snyderverse is trending with 1.5 million tweets. Like, guys, we don't even know anymore. Maybe the part of the journey is not the end after all. I guess we'll just have to wait and watch.
Till then, go watch the movie and have fun. This was Radio DICT, music that keeps you alive.